Hi you guys. In this video I just did a really quick demo on how to use charcoal, not the subtractive, totally messy way, but the cleaner, just regular charcoal drawing. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so we're going to start our new drawing. For this drawing you need vine charcoal. I'm using vine charcoal soft, a charcoal pencil, and an eraser. And then you also need an image. For my image, I'm using, I don't know if you could really see it, this image of a photograph of a crow, okay? So what I'm going to begin by doing, I'm going to try to keep this here so you could see it. What I'm going to begin by doing is drawing a rectangle. The image is from Instagram, and the Instagram rectangle is a little different than my page. It's a little more squarish. So I'm going to begin by drawing in that rectangle, and then I'm using my vine charcoal for this. I'm just going to try to put in that bird. I'm hoping you guys are a little more familiar with vine charcoal now, so I always feel like it's a rude awakening when students start using it. But hopefully by now you're a little more comfortable with it. I keep on rotating my vine charcoal. It might be hard to see, but I want to have I really care about my line edge. So I have to keep on kind of rotating the vine charcoal in my hand to have a sharp edge. And then I'm trying to draw this, but I'm also just kind of looking at it and squinting my eyes and trying to separate it into areas of light and shadow. So for this bird, he has this really light area right here on his chest. And so I'm kind of drawing that in right now with the vine charcoal, trying to figure out it's weird. He kind of has a puffy chest, like he's so proud. So I'm trying to separate my bird into areas of light and shadow, just like we've done before. We did that for our graphite drawing. We did it for our other subtractive charcoal drawing. It's just we want to draw the images and we want to draw the animal and then, or not, we want to draw the image and then separate it into areas of light and shadow, basically. So I'm just correcting the outline. And then I'm placing the eye. We're going to soon do faces, you guys. So this is kind of a thing we do before we do faces, right? And I'm just going to use the vine charcoal until I feel like my figure is good. And then I'm going to switch to charcoal pencil just because personally I'm okay with vine charcoal, but it's not my favorite. I much prefer charcoal pencil. But if you're someone who you really like vine charcoal, you could keep on going on this drawing with vine charcoal. You would have to eventually switch just because it's still going to be true that the vine charcoal is easy to erase. So you do need to use some charcoal pencil before the end, but it's kind of up to you when you switch to that. It's pretty amazing how dark black that gets all in this area, right? Eventually, we're going to have to get that really dark. Okay. My drawing's feeling okay, but I'm going to use the vine charcoal a little bit more just because it's so easy to put in shadow. So I'm going to use this vine charcoal. I'm going to put a layer of vine charcoal on all the dark parts. And you should know by now that we can just really easily blend this, so I can be as messy as I want at this stage because all these marks will disappear when I touch my hand to the drawing. Now, as I'm doing this, I notice, oh, I need to be so much darker. So I think I'm going to do another round of vine charcoal. And I'm going to put a little of that vine charcoal that I already have. I'm going to add it a little into the light parts of the bird. Now I'm beginning, you guys can't see this, but when I look at this picture, I'm kind of squinting my eyes and just trying to see it in terms of light and dark. I'm sorry, I got a new camera and I feel like it keeps on going in and out of focus. That's going to be annoying if that's true. I'm making my vine charcoal marks in a different manner so that the stroke mark won't be so obvious. Okay, so at this point, I have my drawing drawn in, like mapped in, and I've begun the shading, but because I don't like vine charcoal, I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to switch to charcoal pencil. This is a personal choice. If you wanted to keep on going with vine charcoal, you definitely could. I do have my drawing fit like laying on a table, and this isn't the best idea. I should have this propped up. I'm just going to try to be very aware of my hand and how it's touching the drawing. Okay. Now the cool thing about using a phone is technically, oh, it doesn't really want to stay. I want to zoom in and see more, you know, like where that's happening. It's weird. It looks like it has feathers or something. So I'm just going to put a layer on that. Okay, so we're just going to use this to keep on going. I have I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk and draw at the same time, and that doesn't work well for me. I have a paper towel underneath my hand just for if I smear. I feel like the eye should be here. I'm having a lot of problems because I'm sorry, you guys. I want to be able to zoom in, but I'm having issues with zooming in. Remember that that kneaded eraser can still pick up any charcoal. Okay, so as I'm working with my charcoal pencil, I'm just looking mainly at the value. Like, I'm trying to put down one layer and I'm kind of thinking like, do I need to, is this dark enough? Do I need to come back a second time and put another layer in? So I kind of feel like to the left of the eye, yeah, it does need to be a little darker. And I'm controlling this just like I did with the um, graphite, in that I'm just going to slowly build this up. I'm a little worried about the tip. I think I may have to sharpen this soon. Okay, it gets so nice and rich black down here, right? So I'm putting it in with charcoal hatch lines, and I'm just putting it in softly, and then I'll slowly build that up. This is a little different in that I'm doing an animal, so I am having my hatch marks go in the direction of the feathers, but you don't have to do that. Still needs to be darker where, you guys? Darker probably here a little bit more and darker here. So I'll just put in another layer. Our tendency is not to go dark enough. So almost all of us can go darker than you think, like kind of than you want to go, you know? Like we tend to play it pretty safe and not go too dark. Okay. I'm a little worried about that. I feel like it's dark, but not dark enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger. You could also use that rubbing, the blending stump we made in the other draw for the graphite drawing. And if I rub this, it fills in we could say the tooth of the paper. The paper kind of has these like white spots on it that like a paper grain is what I'm talking about. So if I rub it, it fills in that tooth a little more, and that makes it go a little darker. Okay. I'm wondering how to do these small feathers. Like, should I just do tiny little stroke, you think? Would that do it? And then I always, when this is hard to say, but when I get kind of confused, like I'm wondering about this neck part, it's very helpful to try to zoom in and just think of it in terms of areas of light and dark shapes, basically. So when I do that, I see, oh, this needs to be like have a sharp edge for this wing, and then the underneath gradually goes out a little more. But then this also is going to blend like a soft blend, right? We talked about how dark it is, but that's not, I'm saying like this darkness kind of goes to a dark gray, then streaks of light gray, but this has a defined edge in it right here. So I would say this is a hard edge, the wing, and this is a soft edge. So if I'm going to do a soft edge, I'm just going to build up hatch marks, and I'm not restricting the line. I'm kind of like, I kind of have an area here that I think I want, but I make my hatch marks go over that line. Not sure where that is up here. I want to check before I carry it too carried away. And then we could draw with our eraser. So some of this area I'm looking at and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like I could get my eraser and just erase out those streaks, you know? So I'm going to actually build them up a little bit more, and then I'll just erase out some of those streaks. So again, I'm going to use that same dark finger. And again, when I rub it, it gets a little darker. And I actually need to use that darkness all down here, right? So I'm just going to build that up in layers. And once again, I don't really like fine charcoal, so I'm doing this all with my charcoal pencil. But as I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's really dark. I mean, this would be a place to use vine charcoal if you liked it. Because you're going to have to build this up a lot by doing a lot of layers of charcoal pencil. And the important thing is to be patient. That's actually the most important thing in all of art. Whether you're drawing or painting, whether you're using charcoal or graphite, you just got to slowly build this up. I'm wondering about this part. How do we make this right side? It comes down, and then what happens? It kind of, there's a wing there. And I can see the wing because the underside is really dark. So this is dark, but I need to try to keep that light edge. And then the same thing here. The lightest part, so after you start shading for a while, you want to think, where's your lightest part of the drawing and where's the darkest part of the drawing? So for me, the darkest part is probably here or some of these streaks. And the lightest part, what do you guys think? Is it here probably? So that means everything else has to be darker than this part. So this also is going to need something. I keep on using my finger for this, but to be completely correct, and that's what I strive to do as your teacher, it's not good to use your finger for this because your finger actually has oils on it. So it would be better to use the blending stump for this area. Kind of being lazy, look at my charcoal pencil. Like I really need to sharpen it. Okay, I'm gonna get my kneaded eraser and I'm gonna go back in here and I'm gonna try to draw with my kneaded eraser, kind of like we did last drawing. I'm just gonna make some of these streaks for the feathers. And if I make my kneaded eraser really thin, I can make so in this way, we're drawing, this is just called regular charcoal. Last time it was subtractive charcoal when we were taking the charcoal away from what we put down. Now notice we're kind of doing a little bit of subtractive drawing. I mean, I am right now. But this is honestly how most people use charcoal. Like starting with the white page and then going through and adding it in. I'm trying to add in some feather texture there. And then I'm making little U marks just to kind of imply those downy feathers here. Okay. To really finish this drawing, what I would do now is let's go on all the edges. We're almost done. Let's just finish off the edges. Oh, here, let me put this down so I can control it more. Let's finish off the edges and let's also deal with this rectangle. We had put it in so sloppy, but we're practically done with the drawing right now. So let's make the page look good. Now this is something I don't really know how to describe it, but the whole drawing is important. So you guys want to spend some time cleaning it up at the end. Sometimes I think when we draw, we're like, oh, it's good enough, I'll take a picture. But if we just spend a couple minutes, we can go from a good drawing to a really nice drawing. So let's just spend a little more time. So I'm looking, where are there like feathery edges? And I'm trying to put those in. And here too. And then I'm going back and I'm dealing with this rectangle. So really, I should have probably a ruler would help do this. And then I could also switch erasers too. Like if I had a normal eraser, that would do this a little better. I don't like the tip of that bird's beak, right? Okay, and we're done. Thanks, you guys.